Hello, I'm Jeremy. That's Josh. We're the dads of football. We are talking our last installment of Combine Preview. So if you're building up and getting ready for the NFL draft, this is the primer that you need to know who's even out there other than the two or
Yeah.
three guys everyone's talking about. This episode, we're on the last day of the Combine. We're talking offensive linemen, every single position, centers, guards, tackles. We're talking about all of them right here. Josh, top two or three guys, regardless of what part of the line they're playing. Who do we think are the three locks to be first round caliber type talents?
So for me, in terms of guys I've seen, guys I'm excited about, guys that have been on TV, guys that you've heard the heads talk about, and by that I mean the talking heads, of course. I'm going to start off and I'm going to go a little bit of a different direction, not significantly so, but JC Latham out of Alabama, 6'6", massive 360-pound man, runs a 4.85. I mean, we're talking a presence as a tackle. And I think when we talk about linemen, you cannot dismiss. And I don't know that he's the number one. I still think Alt is probably that guy. But JC Latham, I cannot wait to see compete at the combine, see what he's able to do. The comparison that I made in having a conversation with my son was Broderick Jones. He's just such a massive, massive man. And carries it well. And he's out of IMG Academy. So he's played against those guys. He had a zero sack statistic over 13 starts at right tackle. I mean, he's effective in the pass protection. He's a massive man, a great athlete. I'm excited to see him play. Again, you can go with Joe Alt, fantastic. Fashanu out of Penn State, absolutely. But I am excited to see Latham play.
I think Latham, I think you hit it on the head. He's my number one guy in terms
Yeah,
of pure talent. And especially seeing him on that line opposite him, you knew I was going to do it. I was going to bring up an
I
Iowa
did.
guy.
I knew it
Caden
was coming.
Proctor played opposite him, and Latham was just so much better. Now, in all fairness,
Yes.
Caden Proctor's a freshman. He's a young guy. He's a massive human being, though. I mean, when
Yes.
you're talking about a guy that's 6'7" beyond and weighs in the 360s,
Yeah.
and Latham, I thought, was the perfect guy to really be a mentor type dude to him. And you saw how refined he was. And I hope that Caden Proctor can become, and I think he will become as
Yeah.
refined as him. And I think will be an even sexier pick someday in the next 2 years. But Latham's the guy for me because he has that size and he has that ability. And you said it, the other two, Fashanu and Alt, I think that's a consensus top three right there.
Yes.
Now, granted, all three of those guys are offensive tackles. There seems to be more pure tackle talent than the other positions. Center is always going to be something that's kind of rare and hard to find.
Right.
And even when looking around there, it's like, man, where's the center? Where's the center? Where's the center? They're there. They're just not going to be the guys that are going to typically go in the first round.
Yeah, I think one of the things with center in the NFL, they feel like they can move a guard there.
Mm-hmm.
They feel like
Yeah.
if you have an undersized tackle from college, maybe played at a smaller school, but he moves well, they're going to move them down to center. And I think that's one of the fascinating things about the NFL, right? And as a Bears fan this year, I'm thinking center, center, centers. And you look at a guy like Jackson Power Johnson out of Oregon, and you wonder if a 6'3" guy like that, 334 pounds, is going to slide into the NFL and jump right in and be talented, or if it's more of a guy like Zach Frazier out of West Virginia, who also maybe relative to the position, 6'2", 314, right? Not a
Mm-hmm.
massive, massive lineman, but a guy that's excited. And the thing I like about Zach Frazier, this is a silly thing, but it's just something for me when I talk about athletes. He was a wrestler in high school, a state wrestler in high school. So he's going to have some nasty in him, which is what you need from your center.
I think if we're gonna go, dumpster diving a little bit here, going deep
Yeah.
down into the list, and not even that deep. I'm just skimming the surface. I'm picking the wrapper off the top of the dumpster. To me, is Cedric Van Pan Granger out of Georgia center. To me, he's the best natural center in the entire group.
Yes.
Um, he doesn't necessarily get the attention that a lot of those top guys do, but if
Right.
you're looking for a center, and there's a couple guys rated higher than him. I think he might be the best center in the entire draft. I'm excited to see what he could do, and a guy that you could probably get on a day 2, maybe even a day 3.
Yeah. My only thing with Van Pran, right? And this is a nitpicky thing, right? But coming out of Georgia, he's been a zone blocker for the last couple of years, right? He's 6'4", he's 310 pounds. That seems to be where he excels. So you just wonder, right? Is that going to translate into the NFL, right? So again, any center, typically speaking, brilliant players, brilliant football IQ. You just wonder, right? Is he going to be a high level run blocker? That's my only thing with him, right? When you're coming from that zone scheme, you wonder about that a little bit, right? And my only other issue with Van Pran, and I'm not trying to disagree with you too much, he does have those short arms, right? And in the NFL, that has proven to be important, right? The ability to actually use those long arms to control our D linemen, who also incredibly long arms, all of them.
When you're talking about the arms, they said the same thing about a number 1 pick a number of years ago, Tyler Linderbaum, who happened to be number 1 center off the board, first round, and he's an all-pro for the Baltimore Ravens today. So shortest, I think he had like the shortest reach out of any center taken in the last like 10 years.
I'd say it's last decade.
Yeah, and he happens to be the best. So I'm not going to put as much value in that one. But if we're talking centers, you can go way, way deep and look at a guy like Drake Nugent out of Michigan, who a lot of people are probably saying, well, he was good in college. I don't know how good he's going to be in the pros. Right. I think he could surprise some people. And you know me, I don't have a whole lot of love for Michigan, but I thought their offensive line was pretty impressive, and that dude anchored it.
So this is going to be sort of like a little bit of a homer pick for me. And I shouldn't say homer because that's not entirely accurate. But Andrew Raym from Oklahoma, he's from Broken Arrow. I got a lot of family from there. And for me, I look at a guy like that. You're talking 6'3", 315, highly athletic, played in an offense that gave him the opportunity to clearly define who he's going to be in the run. And I wonder if a guy like that, you talk about, you're going down on your list and you're finding centers. There's something exciting about that, right? Because in Broken Arrow, you're playing against all those massive high schools in Oklahoma, in the center of Oklahoma, just outside Tulsa, Union, Jenks, and he still ends up as an Oklahoma starter for multiple years. So it'll be interesting to see where he ends up as well.
See, and I like him. I think he's an underrated talent. Now I'm gonna put a little challenge to you. If you've got that NFL Combine participants list right there, here's my challenge. The lowest guy on that list, the lowest graded guy that the NFL has that you could maybe see someday becoming a starter in the NFL. That's my challenge to you, because I got my guy picked out. If I'm looking way deep on that list, I see a name that pops out to me and I go, oh my God, I'm surprised that he's this low. So first of all, this is we've been talking deep drafts, top to bottom. This is a deep draft. And when it comes to the combine, I'm going to be interested to see this guy's numbers. And if they maybe move him up the list, they have this individual graded as a 5.64, which is the lowest number that any lineman is rated. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys rated there. And they have them second from the bottom, Ladarius Henderson, guard, Michigan. I'm taking another Michigan line. I buy the Michigan line.
I don't know what's happening right now.
I love the Michigan line. I may not like the Michigan quarterback, but I love the Michigan line. I think they're the reason that the quarterback was successful. He was the one that busted open the holes for all these different guys that were running through them. So when I look at a guy like Henderson, another dude that is a nice solid size, not the biggest, but still 6'4" for a guard is pretty tall. Maybe I'm not going to say you can move him out to tackle. You can't, but he's a good sized guard. To me, when I look at him, I could see him maybe in year 3 or 4 getting the opportunity to be a starter in the NFL.
So if you're asking me to go deep, particularly on my list or on any list, right? and I'm going to go back to centers and having played quarterback in what felt like a different life, I'm going to go with Ezra Datson Oyatati from TCU, right? We're talking
Okay.
sophomore, 6'3", 285. But he played in Texas for his high school ball. And I'm sorry, I will always defer to players from Texas, from Oklahoma, from Florida, Georgia. To me, they're playing against the best. They're playing against guys that are going all over the SEC. And he played in just one game. He played in just one game in 2023. And to me, enters the draft. He's going to be at the combine. I wonder what he can do, right? Because they've talked so much about his athleticism, but also his ability to move to the second level. And you want to talk about a center that becomes a difference maker. It's that guy, right? Agility, technique, size. I wonder what that will look like.
That is that is pretty deep. I've got nothing for that. I'm not even on my radar.
Yep.
That's an interesting one. Obviously there's tons of talent that's there. Tons of guys we could mention. And I think that a lot of these guys have the potential to be pretty decent. I think I mean, honestly, looking at this list, this might be one of the I think you know what, you probably see some pretty good drafts from linemen a lot of the times, but again, this is a good draft, and I think this is obviously going to be a combine that reflects the talent that's there. It should be exciting. That was our quick hitter for linemen. That's our last installment. Next week, we should be talking more about, well, how did these guys do? Maybe we'll have a couple segments talking about who were the top performers, maybe some of those underachievers that were discussed in college football, but maybe look like superstars in the combine. So make sure that you're paying attention, like, subscribe, keep an eye out, and we will see how well our predictions panned out.
Enjoy the next 4 days, everybody. Like, it's just, you get to watch the next generation. And to me, that's what makes this week so damn exciting. Underwear Olympics and all.
Thank you for joining us, and we will see you next week.